The experience of God's love by its nature cannot be contained, so He created the universe and the earth. He prepared it as a place to demonstrate His love. Finally, God created humanity, then poured out the experience of Himself on them.
The first human was planted in the love of God. As he soaked up this love, he naturally grew, and God's love found its expression in him and through him. It is the nature of His love. Love cannot be contained. God instructed the first human not to learn about life apart from the presence of His love. God also gave humanity the authority to uphold love in all the earth. Any knowledge learned without God would prove to be destructive. Since God is love, love cannot be known apart from the person of God.
When love is defined apart from God, it becomes twisted selfishly, and it kills what the world was created for. It also kills the image of humanity. So God instructed the man not to learn of life separate from Him. The first man obeyed and lived immersed in the love of God, so much so that he wanted to share it with another. God took the love that grew from the man and created a woman. This experience of God was now to continue to others.
Then tragedy entered the story. Humanity decided to leave the life and story of God's love. They decided to write their own stories. The image of humanity, separated from their roots, decayed. Instead of life, there was sickness and death. Instead of love, there was selfishness and evil. Like a tree that is cut down, humanity looked alive, but life drained out of it. It withered and decayed. No matter what people did to revive it, it failed. What was supposed to be beauty turned into ashes, and what was supposed to have color turned into darkness. Apart from the life and story of God's love, the image of humanity would fade without end into perpetual darkness.
God then did His greatest work. He became a man and entered into humanity's story of death. He was a light in the midst of darkness. Many saw in Him what they were created to be. His name was Jesus. Jesus offered forgiveness for humanity to be reconciled to God. Jesus was crucified on a tree to pay the penalty of rejecting God. He fully embraced a detached humanity and absorbs its death into His body. He died still connected to God's life and story of love in Him. Death could not hold Him because the love of God was in Him. After 3 days, He rose from the dead. He then ascended into heaven until an appointed time.
Jesus offered humanity a chance to leave their stories behind and return to the flow of God's presence. Many have changed their minds and want to re-enter God's life and story of love. They are restored by the gift of the life of Jesus. They are reconnected to the life and story of God's love. The story of God's love is in motion right now. Those that desire to enter into the story of God are also empowered to live. Others will choose to continue detached.
Jesus promised to return to culminate the work of restoration that has begun on the earth. While waiting for His return, those that have begun living His story now work to bring restoration to the world by demonstrating His life and declaring His story. They work to restore the image of God's love in the world by serving those in need, ministering supernaturally, and calling people to re-enter God's story to be restored.
Take my hand, I'll lead you away from all of the mistakes. Take my heart, I'll show you that life is meant to be lived this way.